The trash polling that we have seen for many years now has finally returned. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because the trash polling that we've seen for years now, that I thought we were finally done with, has finally returned. The New York Times released a brand new poll out of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And according to the New York Times, Trump is losing each of the swing states by like 4 to 5 points. Yeah. Just a couple days after, Trafalgar released their own polls that had Trump up in Wisconsin, up in Pennsylvania, down slightly in Michigan. Just a couple days after Rasmussen has Trump up by 5 nationally. Marquette even. They had Trump up by a point, or even down by a point, whichever way you look at it, in Wisconsin. But the New York Times, they thought to themselves, you know what? What if we released a brand new poll that has Trump losing the Rust Belt by 4 to 5 points? Yeah, well, let's release that. I cannot believe that they thought this was a good idea. If I received these numbers, and even if it was Trump up by 5 or 6, I would have said, hold on. Maybe let's go back in the field next week and try again. Maybe these numbers are a bit off. But the New York Times thought to themselves, release it, who cares? It doesn't matter. We have Harris up by 4 to 5 points. And we're going to go over this poll because this poll, the more you look at it, the dumber it gets. For starters, according to the New York Times, Harris won Wisconsin by 6 points, or Biden did in 2020. Michigan by 5, Pennsylvania by 4. Yeah. Just for some context, back in 2020, Trump lost Pennsylvania by a point. Michigan lost by just under 3. Wisconsin, under 1. But the New York Times, they're claiming Biden won each of these states by 6 points, 5 states, 4 points. Right off the bat, you can tell this poll is a bad one. Listen, I can understand being off by a point. Like, okay, you claim Biden won Wisconsin by 2 points. Fine, whatever. You could say sampling error, whatever. That's one thing. But Biden plus 6? I thought you clowns of the New York Times claimed that you fixed the polls. We got better samples now. Really? Because from what I can tell, you have a Biden plus 6 sample in Wisconsin. Biden plus 5 in Michigan. Biden plus 4 in Pennsylvania. That's a 3 to 5 point shift in each of the swing states. How do you look at that and say, yeah, we're good, nothing wrong here? It's not a good sample. Right off the bat, you can tell there's something really wrong with this poll. So let's get into it. Let's start with Michigan, which oddly enough, I don't know how they came up with this, but according to them, at least on the registered voter poll, they have Trump winning by 2. How? How the hell do you get Trump plus 2 in Michigan? But if you look at the likely voter poll, let's look at it, okay? They find Harris plus 4. A 6 point shift. Really? Are you going to tell me with a straight face that Harris is going to do 4 points better in the likely electorate? Or 7 points better, excuse me. A point better, fine. 2 points, maybe. But 7? A 7 point jump is unheard of. And just look at some of these crosstabs. Look at the white vote. They claim Harris is going to win the white vote or lose by only 3. Let's go to Michigan in 2020. Let's see the exit poll. Let's scroll down here. White vote. Oh, they had a Trump plus 8. But Harris is going to do 5 points better with the white vote. Bull crap. Does anyone actually believe that? And look at the white non-college vote. Trump plus 17. Let's go here. White non-college, they have it. Trump plus 12. So they're claiming Trump is going to do 5 points worse with the white non-college vote, the white working class vote. What? Against Kamala Harris? Joe Biden, you could argue, at least had some kind of Rust Belt appeal because, you know, he's Scranton Joe. But Kamala Harris? Doing 7 points better with white working class voters? But, huh? Does anyone believe that? I don't. I think that's horseshit. That's baffling to me. Joe Biden is doing worse with was doing worse with white working class voters than Kamala Harris. That is the definition of stupidity. That is dumb. Who thought, yep, that's a good idea. We gotta make sure Harris is doing 7 points better with white working class voters. No, that's not going to happen. I guarantee you, at best, she does the same. As of now, could things theoretically happen and she actually does 30 points better? I guess. But is that likely? No. But look at some of these other demographics like age. The young vote, Trump or Harris plus 14, fine, okay. You know, she's doing better than Biden, but still it's worse than 2020. It's a shift towards Trump. It's not as big of a shift as it was with Biden, but still. All right, fine. But 65 plus. Harris plus 20. Really? Back in 2020, let's scroll up. 65 plus. Let's see. 65 plus. Oh, Biden plus 3. A 20-point shift in the state of Michigan with the boomer vote. What? What a load of crap. Does anyone actually believe that Kamala Harris is gonna do 20 points better with the senior vote? I call bullshit. That's not going to happen. It's just not. That's already, you are seeing massive problems with this poll. But you keep going. Look at the actual demographics of the poll, how they weighted. Scroll down all the way to the bottom, and you'll notice something very apparent. Look at this. This sample is D plus 5. Yeah, the self-reported sample is D plus 5. Compare that to 2020, which was a neutral environment in Michigan. So according to them, Michigan is going to be even more Democrat than 2020 by 5 points, not by 1 point. If this was a 1 point shift, fine. You could argue whatever, it's a fluke, whatever. But a 5 point shift? No. That's not going to happen. And this is just one state. You can already tell that, oh boy, it can only get worse from here. Because at least in the registered voter sample, it was actually Trump plus 2. But somehow the likely voter sample, yeah, it was Trump or Harris plus 4. A 7 point shift. That's not going to happen. It's just not. But let's keep going. Look at the white sample. They claim it's going to be 68 to 72% of the vote. Back in 2020, it was 84%. 84%. What is that? A 12-point shift? A 12 to 14-point shift in just 4 years. It should be like 80% white. If it was, Trump would probably be winning. It probably would be an R plus 1 sample, not D plus 5. Let's keep going. Let's look at Pennsylvania. The same problems occur. Harris plus 3 in the registered voter sample, but on the likely sample, it's Harris plus 4, which is, what, a 1 point shift? So you're going to tell me in Pennsylvania, Harris does 1 point better in the likely voter sample, but Michigan, she does 7 points better? Makes you really wonder, doesn't it? They have the white sample going to Trump by only 2. Boomers, Harris plus 10. What? Excuse me? Compare that to 2020. The boomer vote went to Trump by 6, so a 16-point shift with seniors. No. That can't be real. That has to be a mistake. There's no way in hell that they actually believe Harris is going to do like 16 to 20 points better with the senior vote. No. How can anyone look at that and say, nothing's wrong here? The white vote, it was Trump plus 9. So you're talking about a 7-point shift towards Harris. And what's white non-college? I'm curious. Let's scroll down here. White non-college. Trump plus 23. This poll, it's Trump plus 19. Harris is outrunning Biden with the white working class vote. Unbelievable. And I guarantee you look at the samples, scroll down all the way to the bottom, it's probably a D plus 5 sample. Let's see here. And it is. It's actually R plus 2 to R plus 1. Okay, so at least the party sample is not crazy. It's not D plus 5. But even then, by race, it's only 70% white. In 2020, it was 85% white in Pennsylvania. So you're telling me that both Michigan and Pennsylvania, they're going to become like 20% more non-white than 2020, or 12%. Bullcrap. You have a massive problem with your sample. If you think, yeah, the sample's going to be, or the electorate's going to be, 15% more non-white. Has that ever happened, especially in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt? Like, you could say maybe in Texas and maybe Georgia, Nevada, but Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin? Let's keep going to Wisconsin, which we all know Wisconsin polling is absolute garbage. And they have it Harris plus 4, and the likely sample, Harris plus 4. So Wisconsin and Michigan, or Pennsylvania, there's no difference. They're like a 1-point shift at most. But Michigan, they find a 7-point swing. What a pile of crap. And Kamala Harris is just outright winning the white vote. She's winning the senior vote by 10. Good Lord. She's winning just everything. In Wisconsin, she's winning nearly every single demographic. What? How can Harris be up by 10 points with 65 plus, be up by a point with white voters? How? How is that even remotely possible? Back in 2020, the white vote went to Trump in Wisconsin by 3 points. By 3. So maybe this is sampling error, fine. But the senior vote? What was it? I'm curious, actually. Oh, Trump plus 7. Yet another state that, according to the New York Times, is going to show a 20-point shift with the senior vote. If it was a 2 to 3 point shift, fine. I can live with that. Even a 4 or 5 point shift. But 20? What? How do you even possibly get that? Where Harris is going to do 20 points better with the senior vote. That's not going to happen. I thought the whole thing was Harris is going to energize the young vote. She's going to energize the minority vote. But this poll is indicating, no, she's just doing way better with seniors, way better with white voters. And look at the white no college vote. It's Trump plus 11. What was it in 2020? I actually don't know. Oh, Trump plus 11. So according to the New York Times, the white working class vote in Wisconsin stays the exact same. But in Pennsylvania and Michigan, oh, they shifted like 10 points Democrat. Is that really what they're claiming? The white working class vote, which I guarantee you, Harris is not going to outrun Biden with these voters. I guarantee you that's not going to happen. And Biden had an appeal in the Rust Belt. He was Scranton Joe. But Kamala Harris? Do people really think she has an appeal in the Rust Belt? No, she doesn't. And I'm curious, what's the sample in Wisconsin? I am very curious. Let's scroll down here. And it is, oh, D plus 5. The self-reported party ID is D plus 5. Really? In Wisconsin back in 2020, the party affiliation was R plus 5. So they're claiming we're going to see a 10-point shift in Wisconsin by party. It was R plus 5 in 2020. It's going to be D plus 5 in 2024. Bull crap. And by race, they're claiming it's 76% white. This is Wisconsin. Back in 2020, the electorate was, what is it? Oh, yeah, it was 90% white. What is up with these huge shifts towards the non-white vote? I guess it's technically possible that the non-white vote has higher turnout. I guess that's so unlikely that I don't think it's even possible. But you're telling me that your sample is only 75% white in Wisconsin. That's it? At that point, that might explain why Harris is doing so good with the white vote. Because there's a bunch of white voters in like northern Wisconsin, western Wisconsin, that are never going to vote for Harris. But in this poll, they probably were not even contacted. And the thing that really infuriates me the most about this entire situation is just a couple days ago, no, just like 2 weeks ago, I should say, they released a national poll where they had a Trump +2. And the reason that this is important is you scroll down to the sample, which, by the way, the crosstabs here, you don't really see any major problems here. I mean, yeah, you know, the black vote is probably a bit too Republican, but you could argue that's sampling error. That's not, you know, the poll just being garbage. You look here, there's really no big issues with the sample, on at least the crosstabs. Trump is doing better with the old vote. He's winning the white vote by 16, the white no college vote by a lot. But you scroll down to the actual sample, and you realize, wait, this national poll, its sample is about spot on. Like, look at this. They claim it's going to be D plus 1, D plus 2, or even a tied environment. Which, that's the case. In 2020, the national environment was like D plus 1. So I could see it being D plus 2, D plus 1, R plus 1, not D plus 5 in Wisconsin. But if the party ID, just in their national poll just 2 weeks ago, was D plus 1, let's just say D plus 2, how the hell can you get 5 to 10 point shifts in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan? How? It's because you can't. You cannot possibly have the national environment be the same as it was back in 2020, at least when it comes to party ID, even a bit more Republican. But somehow in the swing states, they become more Democrat? That's not going to happen. It's just not. That's why this is just frustrating that the national poll they conducted, they had no bizarre crosstabs, they had no weird samples. Again, there's sampling error, there's that, but outside of 1 or 2 crosstabs that might look a bit off, it's not like with the Wisconsin poll where everything seems out of whack. The Trump is surging with the black vote still. He's doing about the same with the white working class vote, but somehow he collapsed with white voters in general. It's like, really? Now, there's really one of 2 explanations for why this poll is all over the place, but their poll just a week ago was fine. One is they fudged the numbers. They made shit up. They just said, you know what, screw it. We're going to have Harris up by 4 in Wisconsin. Which I guess it's possible that they just made up the numbers and they fudged the numbers. They purposely weighted a different sample. I guess. But I don't think that's the case. I really believe that this was just an extreme case of response bias. I believe that. I'm still going with the theory that these polls that have Harris up by 4 in Wisconsin, it's a response bias. And if you don't pull enough people, you're going to suffer a big response bias. That explains why Trump is doing so bad with the white working class vote. Because they probably aren't talking to enough of them. They're probably only contacting ones that are more Democrat leaning, not the ones that are going to vote for Trump. That would explain what happened here. And the reason I'm making a video in the first place about this is everyone's freaking out like, Harris +4 in Wisconsin, it's over. Harris +4 in Michigan, it's over. But remember, just a couple days ago, we had multiple polls at the national level, and even at the statewide level, that has Trump winning. CNBC, Trump +2. Rasmussen, Trump +5. So, virtually every other poll from the past couple of days that were released, they had Trump winning in the swing states, up nationally, or even if he's down by a point. Not down by 4 or 5. But everyone's going to run with the New York Times poll because it shows Harris up by 4 points in each of the swing states. Again, it could be a one-off, it could be bad data, but the poll's just garbage. The more you look at it, the more you would have to think to yourself, yeah, there's something wrong here. They're missing a large chunk of the white vote. They're having weird results across the board. Again, crosstabs, they can be weird. But you could argue, well, it's a sampling error. It's going to be off by a couple points. But if every single crosstab is off by a lot, that's a response bias. There's something wrong here. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.